The United States has overtaken China with more COVID-19 infections than any other country. More than 85,000 people have tested positive. Chinese President Xi Jinping and his U.S. counterpart Donald Trump have spoken on the phone. Mr. Trump then took to Twitter to praise China's handling of the crisis, and he says the U.S. and China are working together. The pandemic has been another source of tension for the two countries. Both sides have traded accusations over the way the other has handled the outbreak. Simon Marks is on the line from Washington right now. Simon, a striking shift in tone from Mr. Trump. Just days ago, he was calling COVID-19 the Chinese virus. What's going on now?
Well, it's a very unclear picture, frankly, Glenda. I mean, President Trump has indicated that he's no longer calling it the Chinese virus because he said at a press conference a couple of days ago, well, the time to do that has passed. This telephone call with President Xi happened at President Xi's instigation. The only American readout that we have of it has come from President Trump's Twitter feed, who says it was a great conversation. He has tremendous respect for President Xi. The Chinese have learned an enormous amount about how to deal with COVID-19, but the call was delayed by President Trump because he wanted to give an interview to Fox News, so he pushed the timing of the call back by 90 minutes. We don't know how that information was received in Beijing. And also earlier in the day, just hours before the call, President Trump had publicly questioned whether the United States and the rest of the world can trust the data coming from China. That an echo of comments that his Secretary of State, Mike Pompeo, made just a couple of days ago, in which Mike Pompeo and others in the government have been pressing China to hand on what the U.S. government refers to as their data sets to the United States, so Americans can fully understand the pattern of the disease. So whether this is a massive corner turn in the relationship or not is hard to know. What we do know with certainty is it's the first time the two leaders have spoken personally for many, many weeks, and as such, dialogue certainly has the opportunity to create further dialogue down the road.
Well, China has offered to help the U.S. control the spread of the virus, as it has many other countries as well. With case numbers in America skyrocketing, do you expect Mr. Trump to accept any help from China?
Well, based on what he's been saying this week about assistance from other countries, including South Korea, I think the answer to that, Steve, is almost certainly no. President Trump said a couple of days ago that the United States needs to be sufficiently resilient in order to handle coronavirus and respond to it without foreign assistance. Now, what they do want to know from China in great detail is up-to-date and accurate data, because that will help members of President Trump's coronavirus task force project where the illness might be heading here in the United States. But President Trump absolutely remains the only leader on the world stage determined to put his country back to work as soon as possible. He says right after the Easter holiday, April the 12th, is when he wants to put at least some parts of America back on a normal footing. Doing that without any foreign assistance is going to be a substantial challenge, and frankly doing it even with foreign assistance may be still, according to his public health officials, an impossible task.
Many thanks for that update from Washington, D.C., Simon Marks.